My girlfriend's mom ruined my proposal. She spilled the bean.
Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot.
She tooted all over the place. So, for context, my girlfriend, 31 female, let's call her Linda, and I, 32 male, have been dating for over 3 years now and have been living together for the past 2. Her family has gotten to know me through various family functions, parties, and holidays, and have always been absolutely wonderful. By the way, this comes from user FrontU761, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, her parents welcome us over from time to play games with them and have dinners together, and we always have a great time chatting about life and making each other laugh. I've been around them enough to know them fairly personally, which I love because of how great they are. Her mom and I even have a running joke where whenever we're about to leave, she yells, "I love you," and I yell it back really loudly. She said it to me one day while we were on our way out the door and I didn't hear, so she got all self-conscious about it since I didn't respond the first time, and I felt so bad that I decided to yell it back, hence the running joke. I do love Linda's family and have no problem telling them that. Linda, on the other hand, I love and adore more than anything in the entire world, and I can't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone else. So naturally, we've been talking about getting engaged and getting married. I always knew I'd want to ask the parents of whoever I wanted to marry for approval or permission to marry their daughter, so Linda and I had that discussion as well, which she thought was very sweet. So about 3 weeks ago, I ordered the ring that she liked the most out of the ones we shopped for. The week after, I started a group text with her parents asking if they would be okay if I could come over sometime in the coming few days to talk and to please keep it between just us. This is important. I guess I already had a group chat with them from the last time I texted them both, so I just added on to that. The last message I sent was a link to a USB extension cord on Amazon for their gaming system. Her mom responded to my message saying, "Is the USB extension top secret?" She thought I was joking, but she was actually serious and she thought I was talking about the previous message I sent a few weeks before, and we laughed it off. They suggested that we meet up for lunch, which I agreed to, and had the talk. It went extremely well, and when I asked them permission to marry their daughter, I got a big old smile from her dad, who extended his hand for a firm handshake, and her mom teared up a bit, exclaiming how excited they were and voicing their approval. The rest of the lunch went well, talking over little details like if we had a timeline in mind for the wedding, blah, blah, blah. Linda's mom was so excited, and I'm guessing she knew what I wanted to talk about. She was very quickly asking if we had a place in mind and proceeded to show me a picture of a wedding venue she had saved in her phone. Not too sure how long that photo had been saved or if she had it ready for the talk, but she was clearly excited, to say the least. She wanted so badly to talk about her daughter, about our talk that day, and I just let them know she was at work and I kind of didn't want her to know. I love surprising Linda with things all the time, but this was definitely the most important. Her mom was so visibly giddy that I decided to let up on that rule I set anyway. After all, I'm almost 99% positive Linda knew what I was doing that day and why. She gave me fun little hints through text like, quote, "Let me know how the lunch with my parents goes. I really want to know what they say. I mean, have fun with whatever you're doing today," a little winky face. My only stipulation to her parents during that talk was that we keep it between us, besides their daughter, and I didn't want anyone else knowing, especially family. Like I said before, I wanted the engagement to be a surprise other than having her mom call Linda on the way home from work to express her excitement. Here's where the problem starts. A day or two later, Linda receives a text from one of her mom's friends saying, "Congratulations on your engagement." She immediately told me about it, and I'll admit I was a little upset. She talked to her mom later that day, and apparently she only told 2 of her friends. We were both kind of mad at that point, but we both agreed it wasn't family, so we brushed it off. Linda reiterated to her mom that no one else was to know about our talk because we aren't actually engaged yet. Her mom said she just wanted to tell those 2 people, and that was it, and I thought that was the end of it. Fast forward to Easter weekend, we went over to her parents for dinner. Her brother and brother's wife were also invited, and her grandfather was there as well. We were all seated on the couch after our meal, and with the way it's set up, I was having a conversation with Linda, her mom, her brother, and his wife. Grandpa and her dad were having a separate conversation talking about what was on TV. Her mom then starts talking about this cryptic text I sent her a few weeks ago, asking to come and see them, and she thought it was about setting up the USB cord and how she was confused. I thought maybe she would just stop there, but she kept going into detail. She said I only wanted to talk to them and not let Linda know about it, and at this point, Linda and I are staring at each other in a bit of shock, like, What do we do? As she continued to give away details about us going to meet somewhere, I tried mouthing to her mom to stop ever so slightly, which I'm almost positive she didn't see. Linda and I are now visibly uncomfortable at this point since her brother and his wife were intently listening, and her brother obviously has picked up on what she's talking about and notices mine and Linda's displeasure. This is strange to me.
Yeah.
Where is the displeasure coming from?
I'm a little confused.
The only relevant party in terms of like getting engaged is your partner. And I guess to OP, also the parents, because you wanted to ask permission. Why are we caring how everyone else finds out about this?
Well, because I think it hasn't even happened yet.
I mean, sure. Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
We're not engaged yet. Okay, but you've already told Linda knows you're going to propose.
Yeah.
The parents have given you the approval.
Yeah.
You literally already bought the ring that you guys both went out and shopped for together.
Yeah.
Y'all are not fooling yourselves. Y'all know you're getting engaged.
I don't want to be engaged unless I've gone ring shopping or my partner knows that I want to be engaged.
I said something along the lines of, we were meeting to talk about gift ideas to save the conversation. And her mom looks at me confused and continues to tell her story.
Girl, take a hint.
I can't remember how far her mom actually got, but then Linda's brother expertly steers the conversation away from that and exclaims, "It's time to get some games going," and gets up to help set up the console. At this point, Linda and her mom are talking under their breath to each other, and obviously the conversation is a little heated. Her mom leaves the room, and Linda looks at me disappointed. Later, when we got home, Linda explained she told her mom we didn't want anyone knowing again, and her mom didn't see what the big deal was. Her mom apparently told Linda that her brother already knew, which is highly improbable because the only people that did know were my parents, who live many states away and have no way of contacting them. And if they did contact her parents, they would most certainly ask, and her mom's two friends. The only explanation we could think up was that I've expressed my interest to her brother in wanting to marry Linda before, but he didn't know about my conversation with her parents or the fact that I bought the ring. Later that night, Linda's brother texted me saying he's sorry their mom spilled the beans, so to speak, but he's very excited for us and thinks I'm great for her. I expressed my gratitude and asked politely if he and his wife would please not tell anyone else, which he agreed. Over the past few days, Linda has expressed how upset she's been about it, and her mom has since told her she will shut her mouth about it now and is acting distant. We've both agreed that it doesn't matter the reason we don't want anyone else to know. It's the fact that it's our decision to keep it between the few of us until the proposal actually happens. The fact is that we aren't officially engaged yet, and we don't want the breath taken out of the moment. We also know that regardless of whatever happens, we're going to be happy and excited to finally be engaged and get married to one another. But are we going too far with not wanting others to know? On the other hand, I know her mom is excited for her only daughter, and I truly love how excited she is. The spark she showed in her eyes when I asked if I could marry Linda was so indicative of her love for her daughter and excitement for what's to come. I don't know what that feeling is like because I'll never be a mother, and it makes me feel like we are in the wrong for letting her be happy for her daughter. So am I, or are we overreacting? And there is an update. I mean, you could be annoyed.
Yeah.
I've spoken.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
We have spoken. Now the chat needs to speak.
Yeah,
What do we think?
You're free to be annoyed. I wouldn't blow up anything over this.
Yeah, me too. But I get it. Yeah, you could be like, what the heck? Let's shut up.
At this point, y'all both know y'all are getting married. So
yeah, that's not going to change.
Now it's just more like, guys, shut up. Linda's mom actually wound up sending her a message yesterday, and she showed it to me. To be brief, she apologized and stated she was sorry for overstepping our boundaries and what we wanted, and she promises not to do it in the future. She seemed very sincere in the message and apologized fairly profusely since she knew Linda was upset with her. Thankfully, it didn't seem at all like she was just apologizing to avoid more confrontation. She said she understands now where we are coming from and is more or less upset with herself for not taking our request for discretion as seriously as we stated. And by the way, I'm seriously stating that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. So we do have a little bit more story left. I like it.
Yeah.
Mom's apologizing.
It seems like it's working out. You were annoyed, but we finally got through to the mom to be quiet. And then we can forget about it for a few months, hopefully. And then it'll be all right.
Yeah, you've already got permission. Now just wait for that perfect, unsuspecting moment.
Exactly.
Ambush her at the DMV.
Oh,
That's truly the last place you would expect
that
to
really
be proposed
is.
to.
That really is. Wow.
Yes. Don't do that, please.
Don't do that.
I'm happy to say things are finally back to normal. Thanks to all that were able to comment, I took your advice to heart. And we will certainly keep in mind to share future big life events at a more appropriate time with her moving forward. Also, thanks for making Linda and me feel like we aren't crazy. Cheers.
Cheers.
And then a little heart. And that is the end of that story.
Well, everything seemed to work out in the end. My fiance's grandmother crossed a line, so we banned her from our lives.
Ooh, grandmother? More like bandmother.
Oh. So me, 22 female, and my fiance, 26 male, who we'll call Matt, have been having issues with his grandmother, who we'll call Linda, since we found out I was pregnant. Sorry, this is going to be kind of long, and it's my first post. I had issues with her touching my stomach without permission and her just trying to cross clear boundaries. By the way, this comes from Upset Average 3629, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK storytime subreddit. So fast forward a few months and we end up going out of state to visit Matt's family before I had the baby. We left on really bad terms with Linda. She had been extremely disrespectful to me anytime she talked to me. Most recently, she had agreed to watch my dog while we were out of state. She literally begged me to let her watch her because she had bonded with my dog. We had lived there previously with my dog, but the issue now was that she wanted to come out of state to visit my family too. So I needed to figure out what to do with her, or she was going to take her to the pound. I was 7 months pregnant at the time and it caused me so much stress. I started having panic attacks at night, asking literally every single person I knew if they could watch her, and no one could. I understand she was a bigger dog, think German Shepherd Boxer mix, and was 2 years old, so a little rowdy. I felt so helpless. I was so far away and there was literally nothing I could do. She ended up getting one of her friends to watch her when she came, so she caused me all that stress for nothing. She did end up staying with us while she was visiting. We were staying with Matt's dad and grandfather, Linda's ex-husband. Around this time, I started getting sick. I wasn't able to keep anything down and I had some trouble breathing. I'm pretty sure it was just because I was carrying her so high. She was like right under my rib cage. They always wanted to go out and do stuff, which was just really hard on me, but one day me and Matt decided that we'd get some fresh air with them, and if I needed to stop and rest, we would. No one is home and I'm doing my own makeup. I asked Matt to go get me a drink from the gas station down the street, so he does. While he's gone, everyone gets home and they're so mad that he's not there. I explained that he's probably on his way back already, but they're just not having it. When Matt gets back, they're like, okay, let's go. But the thing is, I was on the phone with Matt the whole time, so he heard everything. He said that we weren't going anywhere with them if they were going to talk to me the way that they were. Linda then had the absolute audacity to say that we weren't allowed to be alone in the house. Like, which you don't even live here. So we said, we won't, and we went to Matt's mother's house. While we were at his mom's house, Linda texted his mom saying that she doesn't want Matt, or that white trash, back in the house, and that I'm turning him against her, which he hasn't liked her since long before me. She's done a lot of crap to him, but that's not my story to tell. I was pregnant and hormonal, so I started crying when I heard that because his mom ended up calling his dad and yelling at him for how she was talking about me and making me cry in her living room. After that, I just kind of stopped talking to her at all. She didn't really talk to me either, but I never got an apology. Fast forward a month and she leaves. I'm super sick, so it was recommended to me not to fly back, so we decided to stay till we had the baby. I ended up having my daughter 6 weeks early. She was super tiny, 4 pounds, but she was super healthy and we were only in the hospital for 2 days. The day I had my daughter, Matt's dad had sent Linda pictures of my baby, Liv. Not 30 minutes later, I was on Facebook. There were multiple pictures of her posted on there saying things like, my new baby girl. And she had even changed her profile picture. Me and Matt had talked to everyone before Liv was born about how we didn't want pictures of her all over social media and that we would let them know when we felt comfortable with them posting. My dad called her and she didn't end up taking them down. That night at the hospital, her and Matt ended up getting into an argument over the phone. She ends up saying, do you want me to call CPS on you?
Woman, the child was just born.
Yeah, was he doing wrong? After she said that, he just hung up on her. Apparently, this isn't new for her. Come to find out, she had done it multiple times to Matt's mother, who would just say outlandish things to try to get CPS to take the kids so that she and her son could have the kids full time. Crazy, right?
That's quite literally insane.
That is crazy. Like 3 months later, we are still living over here because Matt got a job and it's just easier right now. Linda decides to come visit because she hasn't seen her great grandbaby. She would literally call Matt's dad crying looking at pictures of her. She's really freaking weird. I decide, you know what? I'm going to be the bigger person. She's not here all the time. I might as well let her spend some time with her because family is important.
Ugh, no.
Grandma, no.
No, Grandma,
OP,
no.
Boy, do I wish I could take that back.
Yeah, that's just such a concerning behavior pattern because it's like she's like obsessed with the grandbaby.
Yeah.
But then at the same time is like, I'll call CPS on you and ruin your family. It's like, that's not good for the baby.
That's the kind of person that you would be scared to like kidnap your baby.
Or,
you know?
or something. And there's like, in their delusional head, they're like, I'm keeping the child safe from their terrible parents.
Exactly. So my birthday happened to fall on a day that she was here. So I decided I'd let her get some one-on-one time with her just to be nice. We were only going to go to dinner and come back. I told her the rules I had. Please change her in my bedroom. I've seen both Matt's dad and grandfather do creepy crap. Everyone has to wash their hands before touching her and don't kiss her face. Just constantly hold her and sit her down. Don't just sit her in front of the TV. She needs to take a nap by 11 a.m. and like 3 p.m. if I'm not back. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. She explained that she was a mother before, so she knows what she's doing. And I said, okay. And we left. It took a little longer than I thought to get home because we were taking the bus. So we got home at like 4 p.m. When we got home, she is being held by Matt's dad, and I can already tell that she hasn't slept. I take a look around the room. On the coffee table is baby wipes and a dirty diaper. I walk over to her and I ask if she changed her in our room, but she cut me off super quick saying, yes, I did. So I dropped it.
Come on, folks.
Come
on, folks. She just had just a couple of freaking stipulations.
Yeah.
That's all she had.
I picked up my daughter and Matt came over to say hi to her, and Linda goes, did you wash your hands? I said, he's her dad. If he doesn't want to wash his hands before touching her, that's not your problem. And she just huffed. I had such a hard time putting Liv down that night. A quick summary of some other things that she did while there. She yelled at Matt because Liv had a rash. She didn't have a rash. She told on me for not letting her spend time with her one day because I was just having an emotional day. I have PPD and didn't want to be around her. She would tell Matt, the baby cried today, so I don't know what I'm doing and I'm obviously not taking care of her. Matt always shut them up because he doesn't put up with stuff like that.
Wow. She's like, yeah, I saw the baby crying, you know, like how a baby does.
Right.
So I'm worried your wife can't raise a child.
You can't stop that, man. What are you doing to your babies to stop them from crying?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
worried.
She's not coming around anymore
Yeah.
after this at all.
Trust. Not, at least not unsupervised like this was.
No, she's not watching the kids. She won't.
Yeah.
She's not listening.
Fast forward to now. She's back in her state. And one day, I'm just having a really bad day. I missed my fiance because he was working a lot, and I was just stressed as a mom. I was crying, and Liv was crying, and I was just holding her and rocking her, but I couldn't calm her down as quickly as I normally do. I guess Matt's dad told Linda about that day, and Linda contacted Matt saying I'm an unfit mother, and she's going to call CPS and take her away from us. When Matt told me, I walked up to his dad and said, so your mom's planning on calling CPS on us? I know no one is going to take her away from me, but if she has to live with family, it's going to be my mom. I know your mother thinks that she's going to take my kid away from me, but she's not. In fact, after this, she's not allowed to see her ever again. He was like, we don't want to take her away from you. And I said, your mother does, but we're done with her. And I walked away. By the way, we are never done with you because we've got so many episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. But there is a little bit more to the story. But what do we think about that comeback? The boundaries that are being set here today.
The parents are like, well, we don't want to take your baby. It's like, okay, cool,
Yeah,
but
it's like,
grandma does.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Why are we just like tolerating that behavior from grandma?
Yeah.
I guess the parents probably grew up with it, but
Yeah, maybe they're just in the state where it's just like, that's just grandma. That's how she is.
yeah, it's like, yeah, she's, don't worry about her. She calls CPS on everybody.
Right.
She goes to a restaurant, she gets the wrong thing, you know, she threatens to call CPS on the restaurant.
Almost everyone is on my side, but of course, Matt's dad thinks that it's very harsh of us to keep Liv from her. I think if you can't respect the parents, you shouldn't be able to see their children. I guess I'm not really asking, am I the a-hole? The question is, should I continue to let this woman in my daughter's life because she's family, or should I continue to hold her accountable for her actions? Good question. Good question. Hold her accountable.
Definitely hold her accountable.
Yeah, don't let her around.
Depending on like whatever the situation is, it's like it might be unavoidable to like completely cut grandma out.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't put grandma in a position of like, yeah, you're going to watch the kid while I'm at work.
Right.
Or like you, and especially, or even the dad and stuff. Because it's like you just laid out, you're like, all right, this is how I want my child taken care of while I'm gone.
Yeah.
Just for like 4 hours.
Right.
And they couldn't even respect that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I know maybe it can be a thing where it's like, sure, I mean, when we have family get-togethers and I'm bringing my child, like, sure, you can see her. But like, you're definitely not going to be babysitting at all.
Right. It's like,
at all. None of that.
Realistically, it's you'll probably have to deal with her to some extent, but like, just don't let her. And clearly all the CPS stuff is just they're empty threats.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
clearly.
even if she did, it's like nothing's gonna happen except an inconvenience to you. But it's like the principle of like you're threatening us.
Right.
Of course, we're not gonna just like have you around. We might see you twice a year.
Yeah. Like, come on.
You know,
come on. Consequences, man.
My husband let his mother control our lives. It's time we break free.
We've got to break free.
I, 34 female, have been married to my husband, 34 male, for nearly 12 years. Together for 16 at the ripe age of 16. Let's call my husband M. No, we're going to call him Marty. By the way, this comes from user adeptad7807. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I have had issues on and off with my mother-in-law since day one. For context, I come from a very hardworking blue-collar family and have always had at least one job. Being a productive member of society and contributing financially has always been a priority to me. I've also always wanted a big savings account to plan my retirement and also travel as much as possible. When I first started dating my husband, I worked full-time at a bank and had a second weekend job. My husband had a trust fund where he would receive a small disbursement from each month that he lived off for about 9 months. He had a party house that he rented with a few roommates, but he would stay with me while I was still living at my parents'. After 9 months of him not working, I pressured Marty to finally get a job. Soon after, we started renting our first house together. During this time, he absolutely hated his job that had little room for growth, and I had been encouraging him to look into the same trade school that my family member attended. This was only a few months long program, but it was out of state. Finally, Marty was convinced to take the leap and go for the trade school. To do this, we had to move to another state and sell the majority of our things to start completely over in a new city. I was also going to school during this time to be a teacher, so I decided to let that go so we could pursue Marty's new career path. After a couple months, we took the leap and started our new life. By this time, we had been together for 3 years, so on our trip to our new location, Marty proposed, and I said yes. It was so great to go on this adventure with my love. After being there and engaged for a year, we said I do, and had our family come down to celebrate our vows. A little rewind so you can see how my relationship with mother-in-law was up until this point. Mother-in-law and I would have constant up and downs. I'm a very social person and loved doing things, and we would often spend time together, just the two of us. She did not work and has not since Marty and his siblings were small children. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it does make a difference later. She also had Marty pay her rent for 9 months and give her money when she needed extra. She and I would have so much fun together, but it almost always came with consequences. We would share a bottle of wine and play games and tell stories. I'd talk to her about my exes and we would compare past relationships. She was really good at making me feel like we were friends. She would then later confront me for not loving her son and that I must still be in love with my exes if I still talk about them, even though she pried for more information about them. Keep in mind, I was very young during this time and a little naive, so I told her all sorts of things. One time, she waited outside my work for hours, demanding that I pay for half the bottle of wine that we drank the night before, a $6 bottle of wine. I would give her money here and there to pay her phone bill, get her nails done, etc. After we moved, we kept in contact, but it was much easier during this time. Once I got married, we almost immediately got pregnant with baby A, and after a few months, decided to move back home after spending the last 18 months away. So the baby's name is Albert. Marty had completed his schooling by this time, so there was no need to stay away. Once we returned to our hometown in a new house, she started coming over a ton and would almost always ask for money before she left. We went as far as letting her have my car that we were still making payments on, since I needed a bigger car for the baby anyway. She was supposed to make the payments but often couldn't. She had the car for a few months, and during that time she wrecked it twice and got it stolen by leaving the keys in the car in a bad neighborhood overnight, never offering to pay for any of it. Luckily, we recovered the car and we were able to sell it to someone else. She didn't like that much, as it was quote-unquote her car. Once baby Albert was born, it was only a few months before we were expecting baby Bertha. This time was a blur for me for obvious reasons. A few months after baby Bertha was born, we were able to buy our first home. We allowed mother-in-law to live with us for free for a while as our fifth wheel. We had a great private RV step up at our house with its own hookups and private yard. During this time, we would also pay her to babysit her grandkids if we ever wanted to have a date night. She always insisted that we pay her. We were also giving her extra cash here and there and paying her phone bill most months, so really you're already paying her. Baby Albert was a few years old now, with baby Bertha just 1 year behind. Baby Albert was born with lots of complications. The baby's umbilical cord was wrapped around the neck, cutting off oxygen, causing him not to be breathing once born, along with a partially developed kidney. Baby Albert was always very tiny and didn't have any rolls like most babies. Mother-in-law started taking pictures of baby Albert and showing Marty's siblings, claiming that I was neglecting him. Baby Albert also had been recently diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and periodic fever syndrome after a year of traveling to the city 3 hours away multiple times a month. The fevers would come once a month and essentially cook him with temperatures reaching up to 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my God, that's like the highest fever I've ever heard.
Yeah, especially for a little baby.
This would lead to the ER every time to get him on IVs as fast as possible. Mother-in-law would tell the siblings and her family and friends behind my back that I didn't love baby Albert because of his issues, that I didn't love Marty, and that I wanted Marty and baby Albert to go away so I could just live peacefully with baby Bertha. This was obviously far from the truth, as I was extremely protective of and constantly advocating for baby Albert. A lot of times, she had others convinced that I was terrible and they would all gang up on me, sometimes even posting about me on social media. Where is Marty during any of this? Marty.
Great question.
He's in
Marty,
the future.
Marty. Mother-in-law went as far as calling CPS on me, claiming I was neglecting baby Albert. She also started sending Marty and me multiple messages a day, claiming I didn't love him and that I told her I was still in love with my ex. This was 5 years after her and I had ever had conversations about my past. She would also say that I worked him too hard because I encouraged him to have a career. During this time, my little underage sister had gone missing and was missing for nearly a year. Oh my God. And did the mother-in-law blame that on you as well?
Whoa, that's a big detail.
That's crazy. My family had fallen apart during this time because of our loss, and this was one of several other life-altering situations I was dealing with. Because of all of the stress, my first and only psychotic break was triggered, sending me spiraling mentally. For a few months, I was considering separation, as Marty had never stepped in to defend me in hopes of just avoiding the drama. It had seemed as though mother-in-law had succeeded and I was considering a separation. After losing my sister, CPS being called on me, my side of the family falling apart, baby Albert having multiple health issues, and being a young mom, I had felt as though I was being buried alive and could not reach the surface for air. Not having the support I needed from Marty seemed to be my final breaking point. Luckily, I found a great therapist that helped me set boundaries that I had never had. I am a recovering people pleaser. I also found a great psychiatrist that worked with me on medication. I found a great doctor to help me with my lifestyle change and diet, and got certifications in fitness and began that journey. After a while, I was able to heal myself. When I felt healthy again, I gave Marty an ultimatum: me or his mom, which fair at that point. I know we usually don't advocate for an ultimatum.
Right.
But at this point, it's like, how are you? You cannot.
Right.
You cannot placate her and stay with me. He chose me and cut his mother and siblings out of our lives. It took some time, but we grew together and worked on our marriage. We became members at a church and completed a marriage course through the church, and we're doing better than ever. It has now been 7 years, and mother-in-law is starting to reach out to Marty. I can tell he misses his family, and I feel torn. I'm afraid that if we let them back in, it will eventually turn into a hate fest on me all over again, and our marriage and family will suffer as a result. I also feel sad for Marty because I know he misses his family. I have offered to have his siblings back in with the understanding that I will not plan or host as I used to. That would be on him, and I would be happy to attend and support him, but absolutely not with mother-in-law involved. And by the way, you can fully get involved with listening to the full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Just search OK Storytime, and then you can listen to full episodes to your heart's content. We have a little bit more story left. I mean, what is your take on this, Angie? What are you doing? Are you letting the family back in? Are you letting the siblings back in? Are you letting no one back in?
I don't know. Ultimatums are always very harsh. We know this. I feel like maybe instead of an ultimatum being like, you gotta cut her out completely of your life, it can be like, you gotta stand up for this, because it seems like he's been pretty silent in all this whole time, and OP's just like drowning over here, and he's just chilling out.
We are so incredibly happy now. I own multiple businesses. Marty has a booming career. We purchased our second and absolutely beautiful home. I have strong boundaries with both sides of the family and the confidence I've never had before. Baby Albert is now a preteen and absolutely thriving, along with baby Bertha right behind him. We have a nearly perfect life, and the four of us all have the strongest bond without mother-in-law. This is only possible because we have truly put in the work as a couple, both individually and together. So what do? Am I the a-hole for keeping this boundary set, or should I give them all another chance?
Wow.
You know what I have to say to that?
What?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go.
Like, our life is perfect. Should we let one of the worst people that we've had to deal with back in?
Right. It's perfect now because they haven't been in your life. I agree.